Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Happy birthday, Chad.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Just think, we could have just done a whole show roasting you, but we didn't.
Now, who in the hell would do something like that?
I don't know. I don't know anybody do anything like that.
Lyle, you would not.
You
I don't
would
know
not.
anybody that would set up a whole entire show about somebody's birthday and invite people on to harass them all for an hour.
Yeah, and then that person not even be
and
awake.
that person not even be there because they were at work. I mean, if it would have happened.
Yeah, hypothetically speaking. So.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
Man, that was 4 years ago, Josh.
It's been a bit.
Yeah, that was your 40th birthday, buddy, when that happened.
Yes, it was. Been a long time.
Yeah. Wow. Well, good evening, everybody. And again, welcome to Catfish Weekly.
I'm still trying to get over the fact that it's your birthday again already.
I tell you what, this year has flown by.
Oh,
and I can't say it's because I've been having fun, but
no, it's just flown by.
It has just really flown by. But let's say hi to we got a couple folks loading in here. They're slowly coming in. It looks like we got a good topic tonight. I like it.
I think it's going to work out pretty good. So
me too. No, it's not. How old is too old to fish? Peanut gallery over here. We got Joe Buck 66. Our buddy Bugman 22. Crappie Day Darren or Crappie Day Fish on. Mama Cindy Stokes. Brewer Boys Outdoors. Miss Heather Stokes. Catch Fish with Us. Nubby's Catfishing. Schmieder of the Cedar. Greg Burgess. Member of the Weekend Angler. Paul Boyd. Richard, keeping it real fishing. How you been, Richard? Let's see. Wow. Okay, I'm already to the bottom. Light crowd in here so far to start it out, but
yeah, so far 25 watching right now, but everybody filter in. So
they must all be out buying my birthday present.
Maybe that's what it is.
I'm sure it is.
They're slowly coming in here.
I mean, that other holiday's coming up this month too.
Bah humbug.
That's I know.
Well, Lyle, this is your time to shine, man. That's
bah humbug anyhow.
He loves seeing the naughty list getting longer and longer. It means he's got to make less stops.
That's right. That's right.
Well, that's what we were talking the other day. Caitlin and I were discussing it, and we have an elf on the shelf floating around our house. That elf shows up about the 1st of December every year. And we decided that Dockery is small enough and you could sit him places that Lyle could use him to report back, like the elf reports back on whether kids are being good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
We just sit Dockery outside on a stump and let him just report back everything he sees. He could be the grump on the stump.
The grump on the stump.
I think it would. I think it would work.
Dave Funk says, saw an ad for the new 600 horsepower Mercury where the lower unit turns and not the motor.
That thing is flipping awesome.
That's what I heard.
The motor just, the power head just and the midsection just stay where they're at. When you steer, it's the lower unit turning left and right.
Interesting.
It's awesome looking. Plus, it's 600 horsepower.
Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised Funk ain't got one of them already.
Right.
Well, that'd be, quite a bit big for Hoover.
Do you think he cares?
I think he'd get noticed when it's a 10-horse lake.
I'd say you're right about that.
I mean, I'm telling you, if I had a boat that would support 600 horses, that's what I would want on there. I wouldn't take anything less.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, when a boat has a maximum horsepower rating, that should be the minimum you put on it.
Mm-hmm. Dave said that motor would sink his boat. I don't know. I saw a video where that one guy a 200 horse on like a 14-foot John boat.
Thing was going through the water like this.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
he could barely. It was trying to flip itself over on plane, everything else. So, but
Well, he probably needed it because he didn't have enough thrust to get it up on plane, so he probably put a bigger motor on there. But
maybe.
Is there any other way that he could have done that, Josh?
Lots of ballast in the front of the boat.
With how much ballast can you put in a 14-foot boat?
But yeah, that's the thing. You start, you're going to run out of freeboard before you get enough ballast up there.
That's
So
right.
Well, what I was more putting out there is the topic of the show. And if you can't get enough thrust to get yourself on plane, maybe a new prop is in order.
Sometimes you need a different prop. And don't listen to, this is the big thing. This is what gave me the topic idea for tonight. Don't get on Facebook and listen to Joe Bob, who just arbitrarily does not know what boat you have. It says, go get you this at 25 pitch. You'll be good. You'll run 70-mile-an-hour boat. He doesn't know your boat.
That's right.
He has no idea. And we're going to go through. I actually built a PowerPoint for tonight. That's just how nitpicky I am when it comes to things like this. There's math involved. So I automatically like the topic. But we're going to be going through and just covering some of the basics on prop selection and kind of give you an idea. You should be able to come out with an idea of which way, if you're needing to improve performance, which way would get that done for you. So
Sounds awesome to me.
Me too.
Chad, do you happen to know what size and pitch prop you have on your boat?
I don't.
You don't?
Not offhand. No, I don't.
I'm running a 24-inch pitch on mine.
I got a 20.
I knew it when I first got the boat, but I couldn't tell you what it is now.
And then I find every time I find those big-eared Mercury chopper props, I buy them because they're hard to find. They still make them. You can order them from Mercury Racing, but you're going to pay a premium for them. But
yeah, because I was looking at one point because I wanted to get a backup, but yeah, I don't even remember what it was. But I tell you, it's a stainless steel one.
Yep, there's way to go.
I know it was about almost $300 for a new one.
Combination of top end and whole shot, and that's one of the things that we're going to be going over here in just a minute. Is there's a trade-off. The prop that's going to give you the absolute best hole shot, which is getting you from idle speed all the way up onto plane. You're going to sacrifice top end speed for a fast hole shot.
Yep.
Your prop that's going to run your boat to the highest top end speed is not going to get on plane as quickly. So you have to find that balance. And we're going to be looking at the numbers. There's a few different dimensions, critical dimensions that we're going to look at. I haven't used PowerPoint in StreamYard in a while, so bear with me here. There we go. Some of the selection criteria, what we're going to be talking about tonight is material, the blade count, and the pitch. Those three things are going to make the most difference in this. There's some other ones. I've put them down there at the end, but these are going to be our three critical values. And if anybody has questions, throw them in there. I do ask when we start getting into some of these, if you'll keep the question kind of pertinent to the area we're in, because I might cover it on a different section if we have to. And just kind of keep things organized here. So talking about material, they can be manufactured, boat propellers can be made out of anything. But the three most common that you're going to see today are aluminum, stainless steel, and composite, which is a fancy term for plastic. I'm not even going to go into the composite props as far as performance. I don't believe that should be your primary prop ever. They're cheap, lightweight, inexpensive, and they store forever. They are good for throwing in the rod locker or throwing in a storage compartment in your boat. and using that as a backup prop to get home or to get back to the ramp if you happen to break a blade off your main prop. That's what your composite props are for. They're not a performance, but you can get them cheap. You can get them in all different pitches. Just understand that they are going to flex a lot more than what an aluminum would, and a whole lot more than what a stainless steel would. So you're actually going to want to go way up in pitch. I'd probably go, if I'm running a stainless and I'm going to a composite, I'd probably give it another 3 or 4 inches of pitch just to account for all the flex. But the two main ones is stainless steel and aluminum. It's what everybody's running, one or the other. Stainless steel has less flex than aluminum. Stainless steel is a far more rigid material, and that's going to give you a more consistent performance. So as you roll the horsepower into that prop, and that prop is pushing against water. So as that prop pushes the water's pushing back. That's equal and opposite forces. The force of that prop going through the water, the stainless steel deflects less. Aluminum prop will flex back. And as those props flex, you lose a little bit of bite in the water. You lose a little bit of pitch, and it's going to cost you speed. Stainless steel propellers are slightly more resistant to damage from impacts. Hitting something underneath the water with your prop is going to damage your prop. It's going to happen, whether it's wood or rock or anything else. It just comes down to the degree and the extent of the damage. But stainless steel props can be repaired by a quality prop shop. There's prop shops all over the place. Look up, find reviews on them. I've got one that I use up in Minnesota. They have done right by me. They've gotten me props back when I was needing one back one time when I was fishing a tournament. They promised it back before the tournament, and it arrived back to me before the tournament. And the thing came back looking polished like it was a mirror. So they do wonderful work. It was like $150, and they fixed the prop and shipped it back to me. So can't complain there. Stainless steel that quality comes with a price. You are going to pay a lot more for a stainless steel prop than you are for an aluminum one. But you are buying performance, and you're making an investment on your prop, because that is something that you can have repaired, barring completely destroying the thing. Just about anything you do to a stainless prop, you can have fixed. Aluminum is getting better and better and better. The different alloys that they're running in aluminum these days have really increased the strength. You're seeing tensile strengths that are up there with steel. However, aluminum is still a lot more brittle material than steel. It's a whole lot easier to knock a blade off of a aluminum prop. I run an aluminum on my bayliner just because that's what's on there, and I got into some rock. Really, I was at low RPM and just absolutely beat the hell out of a couple of the blades. Now, had that been stainless, I would have seen a little bit of deformation on the cutting edge of the blade, but not to the extent that I'm seeing on the aluminum. But
really,
aluminum props, we're looking at high strength, lightweight design. Aluminum is, like I said, prone to impact damage. If you get into rocks, you get into wood with aluminum, that prop, you're going to know in a hurry. Aluminum is a soft metal. Aluminum props more difficult to repair. Typically, they're not economical to repair either. And that is kind of ties in with this next one. They're relatively inexpensive to replace. An aluminum prop, quite a bit cheaper than a stainless. If you beat the hell out of one, it's a whole lot easier just to throw the thing into your aluminum pile and haul it to the recycling yard and get you a new one.
Yeah, I remember like when I went to trying to find a new prop for my old boat. It off of Amazon, it was really cheap. It was just an aluminum prop, wasn't too bad. When I got the new boat, and I said, "Well, I'm gonna go online and try to order me, a spare just so I have it."
Right.
The sticker shock, I was like, "Oh my lord, that's a big
Uh-huh.
difference." And guess who still doesn't have a backup prop?
Yep. And I mean, I bought a boat a few years ago, and I bought it for the motor, and the guy ended up throwing in a couple extra props just because he's like, "I've got no use for these. Do you want them?" Well, they're stainless steel props. Of course, I'm going to take them. I paid the guy, I think, $2,200 for the boat, $2,000 somewhere in there for boat, motor, trailer, everything. And I took one of the props home. It had never seen water, and I stuck it on eBay and got $500 out of the prop.
Wow.
The next week, just boom, done, sold.
And
So,
depending on the prop size, some of them are.
this was a big, I want to say it was a Mercury Tempest, possibly, or a Laser, one of the two. It was about a 25-inch pitch, three-blade prop. And it wasn't on eBay a day before somebody hit the buy it now. But aluminum, good cost to performance ratio. I mean, you can get a prop relatively inexpensively with aluminum and get some decent performance out of it. Some of the manufacturers, and you have to check with them, but I want to say, don't want to say the wrong one. Yep, Turning Point propellers. That's what I've got on the Bayliner. They will allow you to exchange your prop. So if you order one and the pitch isn't quite right and it doesn't run right on your boat, provided you haven't beat the crap out of the prop, you can send it back to them. Say, "Hey, I need to go up an inch, or I need to go down an inch in pitch," whatever way you're needing to go. We'll talk about later how to figure that out. And they'll let you exchange it out for them, or exchange it out. So
I should have bought my prop when I said I was going to. I just looked it up.
Oh, they're even higher now, aren't they?
Well, the very first one is $706.
That sounds about right.
I'm seeing some around 500.
I mean, if it's a backup prop, you could find you a used one on eBay.
Yeah.
eBay or Marketplace. Just, I mean, totally off subject here, but not really. eBay and Marketplace are your friends. If you figure out, you get to where you know what diameter and what pitch prop you run. And like I said, I find those big-eared chopper props all the time. And
depending on what you teach us here tonight, I got a 5-blade here.
And that's what we're getting ready to talk about.
115 to a 250, and it's on sale 30% off for $860. I'm just going to break out Lyle's checkbook to get it.
Yeah. Good luck with it.
Lyle don't need a credit card. He just writes a check.
Mm-hmm.
So material changes, looking back, like going back and forth between the two. As I said, aluminum has increased flex. And due to that flex, the general rule of thumb is to increase your pitch by about 2 inches if you're switching from a stainless steel to aluminum. So if you're running a 19 pitch stainless, you'd want to run a 21 pitch aluminum. That'd keep you in that same wide open throttle RPM range. It'd get you right there in that ballpark. Conversely, if you're switching from an aluminum prop to a stainless steel, you're typically going to decrease your pitch by about 2 inches. So if you were running a 21 pitch aluminum, we're going to step down to a 19 pitch stainless steel for the performance to remain about the same.
Interesting.
Stainless typically offers a better performance when compared to aluminum, but it comes with a higher price tag. As you know, Chad's looking them up right here as we talk, and you're looking $800 price tag for a stainless prop, brand new. And
And that's for my motor. I mean, or for other ones.
Right. Yeah. Depending on the horsepower of your motor. But, Chad's looking at what's yours, a 250 or 200?
200.
A 200. But I mean, a lot of your full size boats are running anywhere from 150 to 250 horses. The props are going to cost about the same for all that market. Blade count is what Chad was just talking about, the 5-blade. So we're going to talk about the number of blades and the effect it has on performance. 4-blade versus 3 is what we're going to go with. That's typically the choice you have to make. There are more.
4 blades just means I can go faster, right?
No.
What?
Nope. Well, it'd go faster than that 5-blade.
What? No, the more blades, the better, right?
No,
Higher the pitch, the better, right?
In a perfect world, if top speed was your primary concern, a single blade prop, you'd never get it to balance, but a single blade prop would give you the best top end performance.
No, you're just talking crazy stuff now, Josh.
Because you would have for every blade you reduce into water, that's that much less resistance in the water. But 4 blades have their purpose, and we're going to talk about that extra
Can't wait to
blade.
hear.
It gives it extra bite in the water, and 4 blades are going to have a lot faster acceleration. They're going to hold plane easier. 4-blade prop is going to offer better grip in rough water and when you're making high-speed turns. You see it in the bass boat world all the time. Guys are talking about they go in a hard turn. They're running wide open throttle, and they say, my prop blew out. It lost its bite in the water. You could feel it when a prop blows out. You just lose your bite. All of a sudden, you're not going forward. You pull back on the throttle, let that prop bite again, and you're off again. But you can tell when it does that. The extra blade helps minimize that. It reduces some of that cavitation, and that cavitation is where you start looking at prop losing its bite. And cavitation is just, we could do a whole show on it, but just in general, as water is going across the edge of that blade, if there's any imperfections, if there's anything going on, that water can actually boil because of the difference in pressures. And when that water boils and it turns to gas, prop doesn't go through a gas as good as it goes through a liquid, and you're losing a little bit of bite. So that's cavitation in a nutshell. Like I said, we could do a whole show on cavitation and ventilation. The 2 terms mean totally different things, and they get interchanged improperly online all the time. But 4-blade prop, really good for heavier boats. And heavier meaning, your boat may weigh more, or if you're running a 100-gallon live well and you're running that thing full, water is very heavy. Water is about 8 pounds to a gallon. 100-gallon live well filled up, there's 800 additional pounds on your boat. That 4-blade prop is going to help you get on plane faster. It's just going to help you move a little bit better and accelerate a little bit more quickly when you're running it.
Or if you have a smaller boat with a big old guy in it, move into that 4-blade when you can't get up on plane.
Yep,
it will help you.
It will help get you up on plane. You trade top speed with a 4-blade prop. On average, about 1 to 3 miles per hour. So if you had a 3-blade and a 4-blade, you're going to have to run different pitches just because of the way that they operate. You could run a slightly higher pitch with the 3-blade, but you're going to trade off a little bit of. There we go. That's perfect. Creole just put that in chat, and that's probably the best way I've ever heard it. Prop cavitation is about the same as smoking the tires on a race car. You absolutely have no traction.
That's right.
So basically, you're spinning the prop. But that extra blade, you're going to get some better handling. You're going to perform better in turns. You're going to get up on plane a lot more quickly, but you are trading off top end for it. 3 blades, slightly slower on acceleration, but higher top end speed. If top end speed is your thing, like it is mine, you run a 3-blade prop. Fewer blades cutting through the water reduces drag and gives extra miles per hour on the top end speed. 3-blade props are slightly more efficient at wide open throttle, but can lose traction in tight turns or rough water. Where we're talking about cavitation, rough water where you're going and you're up and down in the waves, or you're making a really hard turn at high speed. You've got one less blade cutting through that water, and you could lose traction a little bit. And I'm trying to keep an eye on chat too. So, yep, Bugman is right. You always trade top speed when gaining bottom end. You can have a lot of acceleration and a lower top speed, or you can have a real high top speed and lower acceleration. Lyle will tell you that from race cars. Guarantee it.
That is 100% correct. Can't have you try to find a happy medium if you want, but it's one way or the other.
One way or the other, and you're playing that game trying to find the happy balance.
I'd rather have that takeoff speed than anything. I coming from a boat that it took me 2 miles to get on plane because I didn't have enough power in the motor.
Right.
To a boat that when I say go, it goes.
It goes. That's how
I like it.
My Champion. If I put my Champion on the Bayliner side by side and I run them both the same way, the Champion will take twice as long as the Bayliner to get on plane. Bayliner hops up on plane like it's nothing, but it tops out at 40 miles an hour. The Champion, when everything's right, will run anywhere from 60 to 65, depending on how it's loaded. Big difference. I mean, there's 50 horsepower difference between the two things, and the holes are different, but big difference in one has a almost instant hole shot, and the other one has a much higher top speed. So mine
is on plane is within a second, but I top out right around upper 40s, right around 50, yeah. And that's fast enough for me.
Faster
logs out there for me.
Let's see, 3-blade versus 4-blade RPM changes. Changing from a 3-blade to a 4-blade prop or vice versa will affect the wide open. Anytime you see WOT in this PowerPoint, that stands for wide open throttle. And the wide open throttle RPM is full throttle, on water, planed out, your boat loaded the way you normally load it is the absolute highest RPM you're going to see on your tachometer. And that's what we're looking at. If you know that, you can do all your prop math off of it, but you need to know your wide open throttle RPM. Adding a blade, each blade you add will reduce the attainable wide open throttle RPM by approximately 150 to 400 RPM. And that's a range just on, because boats are so different in the hulls and everything else, that the generally accepted range is 150 to 400, 200 to 400. It's about like 2 to 4 inches of pitch to change blades. So if you're running a 3-blade 20 pitch, you might have to back down to a 17 or an 18 if you go to a 4-blade. Performance-wise, you're going to end up being about the same. You're going to be turning the same RPMs, but you're going to have to, if you try to, hey, I'm going to add a blade, but I'm going to keep the same pitch, you're going to drop a bunch of RPM from your wide open throttle, and you can end up lugging your motor, which is one of the worst things you can do on it. It's on the 2-strokes, not a lot of people running 2-strokes outboards anymore. There's still plenty of them out there. On a 2-stroke outboard, it's almost worse to lug it than it is to over rev it. They'll handle being over revved a few times. They do not want to be lugged. Removing a blade has the opposite effect, increases the attainable wide open throttle RPM by approximately 150 to 400 RPM. So if you're running a 400 or you're running a 4-blade prop, you're going to a 3. I understand that when you order that 3, give it 2 or 3, 4 inches of pitch there. Add to it. And we're going to go into pitch. I keep saying this one. Pitch is, I put it further back in the thing. I probably should have put it to be at the beginning as much as I'm using it in these other things.
I was going to ask, but I figured you had that coming. But
oh yeah, pitch is the biggest thing. The most effect on your prop performance is going to come from pitch. So Parker said he'd rather have top end versus takeoff when running on the river.
See, now I've been in some sketchy situations, and I can tell you that's where I want that whole shot versus the top end. Because if you ever are down at below Wheeler Dam and that wind's going up, or any river that's got flow and that water is going upstream, I could give 2 what about going fast, but I want to make sure I have power for them waves to get through.
100%.
Yep, I'm a top end speed nut. Now I will balance it out for the for a whole shot, but
well, you guys have been down to Wheeler Dam, and you know how wide it is below the dam there. When that wind that does, I've never been down there where it's got current all the way down the lake. But that thing is so wide, that wind starts going. That can be some of the scariest water I've ever fished.
It get hairy real quick out there. Wren Lake's similar. We went back. My buddy Heath and I fished a tournament up there several years back, and they told everybody at takeoff. They said you better catch your fish early, because the wind advisory comes in about 11 or 12, and by 2 p.m. weigh in, it's going to be blowing out there. And Wren Lake, it gets choppy in a hurry if it gets windy out. We were coming back. We were headed into a south wind, and those waves had that whole north-south run of that lake to get rolling. And we're coming up underneath the highway, which is where all the waves were breaking there at the highway. It was fun. I mean, I was throttling up, throttle down, throttle up, throttle down, just to keep the nose of the boat up and run through that rough water, which until you've ran through rough water, I could tell you how to do it, but until you've done it, you don't get the full grasp of it. But Creole said he sacrificed probably 4 mile an hour top speed going from a 23 pitch to a 20. He said, but it'll still pin your guts to your spine with 4 people in a full live well and still runs 51. So yeah, he's running good. Parker says Wren Lake will beat your brains out on a windy day. Yeah, west wind is the absolute worst on that lake. But
yeah, well, what you were just saying, I fished a tournament with Chris Lee. I saw him in chat earlier. And we had that same wind that I was talking about. It was like 20, 30 mile an hour straight up the river. We had about 2, 3 mile an hour current downriver. We came around trying to come back for the weigh-in, and there was a barge pushing up the stream, up the river, and he was rocking that river. And that was everything I had was like just pushing that throttle down enough to keep that nose and that power just right to make it through that.
I know that I know Parker's in chat. He and I were out on the Mississippi just north of Cape Girardeau a few years ago, and the Mississippi was running pretty hard. It wasn't as hard as I've seen it run, but it was running pretty good.
That little river, would it have like about a mile and a half?
About a half a mile an hour, but
rookie number. That river's got rookie numbers.
Yeah. So it's nothing like the Ohio. If you could run the Ohio,
that's what I figured.
But, so we're running upriver from Cape, and there's a barge pushing a pretty good stack, also going upriver, and he's got the river tore up behind him. Now the spot that Jerry and I wanted to fish was upriver a ways and kind of off to the other side towards the Missouri side of the river. There's a little creek that runs in. Parker will tell you in chat that I was surfing the top of a wave all the way into that creek. And I just said, when we got to the creek mouth, I just let back and just let the boat drop into the hole, and we were good. But he was puckered a little bit. Greg Burgess, my understanding, the more pitch and more footage per revolution, more water. Yes, and that's what we're getting ready to move into here. So it is a good time to move into pitch, since I have talked about it since the beginning of the thing, and now we're going to understand it. Pitch is the theoretical distance that a propeller moves forward in one complete rotation. So, for example, a 21 pitch prop, theoretically, in one full rotation, would move forward 21 inches. Real world physics prevents props from traveling their full pitch distance. You have slip, you have inefficiency, you have everything else. But it's a good benchmark. It's a good idea of how much the prop's going to turn. In an ideal condition, we know that every time that thing turns one revolution, we should move 21 inches. You can actually, if you really like to do math like I do, you can get in, if you know your wide open throttle RPM and your pitch of your prop, your top speed, and your gear case ratio in your lower unit, you can figure up how much you're losing in the prop, how much slip you have. And I have done that just because I like numbers that much. So when it comes to pitch, the thing to remember with it, lower pitch numbers are easier for the motor to turn, and they increase engine RPM. So if you're needing more RPM, you can go down in pitch. A lower pitch number is easier for that engine to turn, and it can make a higher RPM. Higher pitch numbers are more difficult to turn. Oh, I don't know why that thing's cut off, and they decrease engine RPM. So as your pitch goes up, it becomes more difficult to turn for the engine to turn that. Terry said way too much math for him. But higher pitch numbers, more difficult to turn, they decrease your engine RPM. And that's adjusting pitch is the easiest way to change performance. If you're needing to change a performance, you've got a horrible hole shot, but you have good top end, we can adjust the pitch a little bit. Start taking numbers off your pitch, go maybe from a 24 to a 23. You're going to pick up a few RPM, but your hole shot's going to get a little better. You're going to lose some top end. You're going to trade it for low end. So your necessary data before you ever change a propeller, before you listen to Joe Bob on the internet say, hey, get you a 32 pitch, blah, blah, blah. Find out the operating RPM range of your outboard. It is going to be specified by the manufacturer. You can find it online. You can find it in the owner's manual. A lot of them now have it on the serial number plate. Mercury was really good about that. Your older motors aren't going to have that. They didn't put that in there on a lot of them. Some of them did. Usually it's going to be stated as a range. So it might say 5,500 to 5,900 RPM. Other times they're going to say a maximum RPM. The one shown there, that 2003 40 horse, says maximum RPM 6,000. So you don't want to exceed 6,000, but you want to get about as close as you can get to that number. You want to be 5,900 wide open throttle. You want to be fully loaded. You want to be 5,900 unloaded. You know, the lightest you're going to run, you want to be as close to 6,000 without going over on that particular motor. On the water, when you're getting ready to do some prop work, like I said, get on plane, have your boat loaded the way you would typically be moving around, get trimmed out, wide open throttle, and whatever the highest RPM you're seeing on your tachometer, that's your wide open throttle RPM. Write that down, remember it, because that's going to be your magic number that you work with when you're working with props. And with the Bayliner, I've got the big toolbox, truck toolbox live well that goes in that thing. When I have that live well in and it's full of water and fish and everything else, the prop that I typically run on the Bayliner doesn't like running it with all that water. I actually change props if I know I'm going to be running that live well. I go to one that's got slightly less pitch just to help it get up and run around. Adding weight will decrease your wide open throttle RPM. Taking weight out of your boat, getting rid of a battery, switching over from lead acid to lithium, taking your anchors out because you know you're not going to use them, telling your buddy he ain't going with you, all that kind of stuff. Any weight you're taking out of the boat will increase your wide open throttle RPM. So once you have determined your wide open throttle RPM of your setup, you can now estimate how changing pitch will affect the performance on your boat. For every inch of pitch you add, so you go from a 24 to a 25, that inch of pitch is going to cost you between 150 and 200 RPM. So if you're already at the bottom, let's say you have an RPM range of 5,500 to 5,900, and your wide open throttle RPM is about 5,600. So you're 100 in your range. You're in the operating range. You're good to operate there. But if you add a couple inches of pitch, now you're outside of that range. You're going to be down around 5,200 RPM at wide open throttle. And it's not going to, you're going to be lugging that engine. Decreasing the pitch will increase your RPM at wide open throttle by approximately 150 to 200 per inch of pitch. So same scenario, we've got the same boat. He's got a 5,500 to 5,900 RPM range. He's running 5,600 RPM at wide open throttle. He takes an inch of pitch away. He's going to pick up a couple hundred RPM. Now he's running 5,700. He is smack dab in the middle of his RPM range. And that boat's going to perform better. He's going to have a better hole shot, and he's really not losing a whole lot of RPM, or not losing a whole lot of top end speed, because he's picked up a couple hundred RPM to do it. So it's all in. No, you need to know your wide open throttle RPM. You need to know the range that your outboard likes to run in, and you especially need to know the maximum RPM. You don't want to exceed that. So what to expect if you're increasing pitch versus decreasing. Every time you increase the pitch, you're going to see a lower RPM at wide open throttle. You're going to see a slower hole shot, which is, like we said, from idle to on plane. But you're going to see a faster top end speed. Increasing pitch, slower hole shot, faster top end speed. Potential for lugging when overloaded. So we fill the live well up. We get that. Now we're running 400 lower than what our RPM range should be. That engine is sitting there lugging. It's working hard on that. It's having to work way too hard. Decreasing pitch, higher wide open throttle RPM, faster hole shot at the expense of a top end speed is what we've been going back. You can have one or the other. The key is finding the balance that works for you. Decreasing pitch, you have potential to over rev when running lighter than normal. With the two strokes, lugging was worse than over revving. A two stroke likes RPMs. They can handle being over revved every once in a while, except the exception to that being Mercury inline 6 outboards that do not like over revving. But I would assume, and Lyle, I'm going to defer to you on this one. With the 4-stroke, I could see over revving being worse on it than lugging.
I would guess that'd be right. I'm not familiar with the 4-stroke outboard motors, but unless it's got the right clearances on everything, clearances is everything when you're talking about high RPM numbers.
I mean, 2 strokes like RPM, 4 strokes don't. I mean,
that's pretty much it.
You know, start your car, hold it to the floor, and hold it at $5,000 all day long. See how long it lasts. I mean, that's
it.
4 strokes. They came about because of
efficiency,
emissions. It's the only reason they ever came about. And they do offer better fuel economy, but
yes, they do.
Considering things to think about, changing propellers, care must be taken to ensure that wide open throttle remains within the manufacturer's range. If they give you 5,500 to 5,900 and you're sitting there anywhere inside that range at wide open throttle, you are good. You can adjust inside that and stay inside that range. You can adjust your pitch up or down a little to get a better hole shot or to get a couple more mile an hour top end speed. But you want to stay within that range. That is what the engineers who designed your outboard say. This is going to be the most efficient way it is ever going to operate is at this range. Wide open throttle below the specified range is lugging the engine. Lugging will cause high fuel consumption, very poor performance, and it can damage the engine. It's making the engine work much harder than what it needs to work. If you've ever driven a manual transmission car or truck, used to that was everybody, and now not too many people know how to drive a stick shift. But imagine trying to start out in 4th gear. It's not going to happen. And it's just going to lug and it's not going to want to take off. But if you get it down into 1st, you can take off like normal. Wide open throttle above the specified range is over revving the engine, and that will cause damage to the engine. So you don't want to over rev. You don't want to lug. That's why they give you a range. And if they don't specify a range, if they give you a maximum RPM instead of a range, figure about 500 RPM, 500 to 600 RPM below the maximum. And that's a good general rule of thumb for that range. So that 40 horse that we had in the example earlier says 6,000 maximum RPM, 5,500 to 6,000, 5,600 to 6,000, probably not out of the question for the RPM range on that. But the manufacturers will, even on old motors, you can still find that data. That data is out there. Additional variables, things that we're just really going to kind of blow through real quick on these. Prop diameter. Changing prop diameter is just like changing pitch, but if you change it, typically you're going to see a 400 to 500 RPM difference at wide open throttle for each inch of diameter that you increase or decrease. So if you've got a prop 23 pitch and you go to another prop 23 pitch, but it's an inch bigger in diameter, now you're going to lose a bunch more. You're going to lose 400 or 500 RPM going to that extra inch, but that's more blade in the water. It's another variable. It's just something to look at. Anytime you're looking at specifications on props, it's going to give you the diameter. And if you have the part number of your prop, you can look it up and you can find out the diameter. So you can take that into account. Increasing prop diameter reduces wide open throttle. Decreasing prop diameter increases wide open throttle. It's just like adding or subtracting pitch. Diameter works the same as pitch. You increase it, you lose RPMs. You decrease it, you increase your RPMs. Cupping, you'll see that mostly in the performance shops. A lot of your good prop shops can add this to your prop. And they don't do a full cupping. They typically do progressive cupping. They're just adding it right there on that cutting edge of that blade. It effectively increases RPM.
Lyle, you do a lot of that, right?
Increase RPM, yeah.
Cupping.
Cupping. Cupping improves grip, helps reduce cavitation. We talked about cavitation, spinning your tires on a burnout. It can boost efficiency. It's It's about like adding a little bit of pitch. And that's typically something you'll see that in the custom. If you're having a prop worked on, you might tell them, hey, you can do that. If they cup the blades right, progressive cupping, you can get it to where it's like adding a 1/2 inch of pitch. So you can fine tune that prop. And that gets us to the end of that one. I like this one. I got to bring that up. Manual transmission is the Gen X security system. Absolutely. I've seen signs where they have like valet parking and they have no manual transmission vehicles. They won't do it. Nobody knows how to drive them anymore. These kids don't have no clue.
They ain't got an idea.
Greg Burgess, Josh, my daughter bought me a 115 4-stroke Suzuki 2022 model, trying to rig it up on my boat. There you go. You got to take it out. Take it out with if you buy a motor, don't immediately just start throwing props at it. If it's got a prop on there, take it out. See what it's doing at wide open throttle. If it starts to over rev, obviously don't over rev it. Just know that you need to add some pitch right out of the gate. But you can play prop math to however just meticulous you want to be. You can sit there and do math upon math upon math and really dial things in. If you're a nerd like I am, you do it just because you can. And but you don't have to either. And that's why we tried to, I figured with this show, we simplify it a little bit. There's a lot of different data that you see when you're looking at props. But if you know what you get at wide open throttle, you can follow your pitch. You can follow the diameter of the prop, or you can adjust the number of blades and find you something that'll work. So, Chad, I don't know what the pitch was on that 5-blade.
I don't have it open no more. I don't. It was anywhere between a 19 and a 27, I think. Is what it said.
That's a lot of pitch for 5 blades.
Well, let me ask you this, Josh, because
Mhm.
and I know me and you've talked props before, back when I was trying to figure that other boat out, right? And I was coming across some of them. There's ones that have a design where the prop, instead of like a fanned out prop, it folds over and comes back down on the other side, and it's all one, kind of like a, I don't know what they're called. It's every prop that it has is more.
I'm trying to find.
Yeah, folds back over into the prop and goes back. It's solid on both sides, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to find a picture. I keep finding the counter rotating, which are just amazing that they're doing that now. But 2 props going different direction on the same prop shaft is just wild.
Let's
see here. Open image and new tab. Here's a counter rotating prop. Window. There we go.
Those are interesting too.
Yeah, it's just flipping awesome the way some of the stuff that they're doing. Just and that all comes down to, you had engineers 50, 60 years ago that wanted to do that. The technology didn't exist. The alloys of metals didn't exist for them to be able to do it. Now we have that. It's an amazing time to be.
And I can never find the ones that I'm talking about when I'm looking them up. I don't know what they're called, but I saw them. I used to watch a lot of, when I was trying to figure that out, I was watching a lot of different YouTube videos, and I was seeing a lot of ones for like the offshore type boats, and that's what these were.
Is that one?
Yeah, it's something like that. Yes.
Yeah, that's a toroidal.
What,
a turtle? A turtle?
Toroidal.
A Toyota roll?
Mm-hmm.
Toyota's roll?
That's why they run good, because it's a Toyota.
Probably last you forever.
Yeah, lasts forever. The toroidal props, admittedly, I don't know a lot about these.
As I say, I just did. I don't either, other than what I'd seen
in
on
the
them. I don't know
grand
what
in
they
the
were.
grand scheme of things, they've been around for a little bit, but they're not. I have never messed with one. There's a real good picture of one. I'd love to try one out. It's just a cool looking design. I watched a video once where a guy designed one for his trolling motor, but he ended up 3D printing it, and being plastic, it had way too much flex. He never saw any
Yeah.
improvement out of it, but definitely a cool looking little design. Will one of those work? 40. Get the pitch right, it'll do it. Creo says they're about $2,500, and that's all he needs to know. Lyle looks like he wants to know. I'm saying numbers around Lyle, and this is his busy time of year. He's got Doc rebuilding toys somewhere, so I mean
he has been quiet lately, hasn't he?
I would like to put a comment in on this. Those of people that have older boats.
That's me.
Do not trust the tachometers in those things.
No.
You need to get a external mounted tachometer, because the older they get, the less accurate they become. So if your boat motor says that you're supposed to turn 5,250 RPMs or 5,150 or 6,000, whatever the case may be, the tack in your boat's probably not accurate anymore if it's real old.
I have a perfect example of this. If you go back on my channel years and years ago, I had a little blue, it was a Monarch McFast. It was a little 15-foot fiberglass bass boat with a 115 on it. The thing would scream. I bought it, brought it home, new fuel pump, new spark plugs, rebuilt the carbs, everything. Had it where, I mean, you just barely hit the key and it'd start. Look at the tack, it's idling at like 2,500 RPM. I'm scared to put it in gear because I don't want the lower unit just exploding on the driveway. And I sit there and tried to dial it back down, but never could. It didn't sound like it was turning 2,500 RPM, but I had a gauge telling me that it was turning 2,500 RPM. And I sat there and dialed it back and finally got it where the thing would barely idle. I had it, but it still said it was doing about 22 to 2,500 RPM at the time. Put a different tachometer on it, put an external tack on there. Well, it was idling at like 700 RPM. I should have trusted my ears and not that gauge.
Right.
Ordered a new tachometer. When I pulled the old tachometer out to put the new one in, when I turned it up on edge, water poured out of it.
Now, the newer boats like Chad's, it won't have that issue.
No, it's a digital. It's reading it off the. Right. If you have a computer, if your outboard is new enough that it has a computer, so we're looking at all of your EFI, your electronic fuel injection, all of those, maybe some of your late model carbs, but I wouldn't count on it.
I wouldn't bet on them. No.
But if it's running a CDI ignition, it's counting pulses off that stator. If you have a computer, that computer is calculating that RPM. And but yeah, you don't want to,
because you can, if that, just because that tack on a 1995 boat says that it's turning 5,200, it may be turning closer to 6,000, or it may be turning 4,500.
It's
because it's set out in the weather for how many years, and
gotten moisture and cooling and everything else, and
you don't want to blow your motor up because you're trying to get more RPMs out of it, and it's already doing what it's
supposed to be. And for safety's sake, don't try to take a photo tack and go back there with the hood off the motor and have somebody run the boat at wide open throttle and get start it up, let it idle, look at what your tachometer says it is, put your photo tack or whatever else on the flywheel, and see if there's a difference at idle. If you're
Right.
seeing a difference at idle, I can assure you, if you're seeing a difference at idle, that difference is only going to get larger as the RPM increases.
That's
So,
correct. You know, it's like my 125. It's supposed to go between 47.50 and 52.50 or 51.
that sounds right.
My tack, it works,
Oh yeah,
but it doesn't.
it's not
Not
saying
even-
exactly.
Not even reasonably close to that, and I know it's turning about the right RPMs.
Yeah, that was fun. But no, I put a different tack on, and that in the grand scheme of things, I'll tell you this: a tachometer is a hell of a lot cheaper than a new outboard. If you have any doubt if your tachometer is any good, a tack, a Sierra brand tack, which is plenty accurate for what you're going to, for what you need, is going to set you back between $60 and $100.
Yeah, money well
Yeah.
spent. That's a great analogy right there.
Yep.
So it shows 600 RPMs all the time.
All the time. Yep. It's those
It's kind of like speedometers on them old boats, Josh.
they just run off pressure.
They run off of water pressure, and they're about as accurate as you squirting pee up that hose.
Yeah, they use a pitted tube, same as airplane would.
Yeah.
Air pressure going in, or in this case, water pressure going in, presses
But
that
they
gauge.
get kinked, the lines get kinked, they get holes in them.
They get a hole in them.
It's just not accurate.
And I will say this: when I redo that Fisher boat that I brought home a few months ago, I'm not even putting a speedometer in it. There's no reason to. Not anymore. My fish finder has GPS speed, which is a hell of a lot more accurate than what that pressure-based speedometer would do. So I'll probably end up putting one of those round marine stereos that go in a 3-inch gauge spot instead of a speedometer in that dash. I'd get more use out of that. But
yeah.
But no, I grabbed 2 props here. Last thing before I know I've run a little bit long, but we got everybody's attention. So we hold this up. Stainless steel prop. This one is a 17 pitch. This is for that 150 on the Bayliner. I got this
hand forged, man. I like it.
Yeah. But see there's where the prop shaft would go, right in that splined area there. There's your hub. The exhaust from your outboard is going through this prop, and it is being translated into thrust. So this is what typically your prop is going to look like. I got one more prop. When I talked about the big-eared Mercury chopper props, this is a big-eared Mercury chopper prop.
Those are Mickey Mouse ears.
Okay, so there's where your prop shaft goes. There's your hub. It's got a pressed-in hub. That's not serviceable by you unless you have a hydraulic press. You're not getting one of those flow torque hubs and just dropping it in there. The exhaust from your outboard goes over the top of the hub. So your exhaust is going through here, all these little channels. That exhaust going over the hub helps to break up the water, which helps you get your prop to spin up it helps you get on plane. So if you've got a boat that's ass heavy, like my Champion is, a big-eared prop like that, you can run a little bit more pitch than what you'd typically be able to. You can run a higher pitch on that than you can on a through hub. And so you can, it was a way of, back in the day, and it still works, it was a way of trying to get the best of the both worlds. So by doing that and adjusting where that exhaust was going, it was giving you a slightly better hole shot than what you normally would have, but you weren't sacrificing as much top end speed. So older technology, but still works really well. If you're running an old 2-stroke Mercury outboard and you're running a glass boat, for sure, look on Marketplace, look on eBay, Mercury chopper props. If you can find them, I don't think I've ever paid more than about $150 finding them used. And I pick up every one of them I see on Marketplace just because they're hard to find anymore.
Very nicely done.
But unless we have, we already saw that one.
Yeah.
There it is. Creole said plus GPS is true speed over ground. That's true. And Creole is, I've been bugging Creole a little bit here lately.
That's really?
Yeah.
You're bugging him? He's bugged me for years.
I know, but well, I'm probably becoming a pest because I keep messaging about stuff. But Jeremy got his captain's license, and he's running Creole's guide service. He's got his Coast Guard captain's license, and I started studying for that a few weeks ago. So
Good.
I've been hitting Jeremy up on that. He says he's not bugging me at all. So I've been hitting him up with this and that as far as the when I run into stuff. I'm using the same learning system that he used. So it's all online based courses. They from what I've seen so far, they cover stuff well, and they cover it in a manner where you remember it. So, but that's a totally different topic for a different day. We need to get some folks together. I got a couple folks I'd like to get in touch with, and maybe do a show here coming up for too long about what it takes to get your captain's license, what you're looking at, and talk to some guys that already have their captain's license that will say, maybe some things that they wish they'd known from the onset that would have helped them out. So
I have a theory about guide services, captain's license.
mm-hmm.
I don't care what body of water or what the state laws are. If you're taking people's money to take them out on a boat and let them catch fish, you should be mandatory to have a captain's license.
I agree. I agree 100%. I agree 100%.
No other reason except for what you learn about safety.
I will say this. I have the learning system I'm going through. It divides everything up. The first one it has you learn is the rules of the road. And now I consider myself safe out on the water, but I have picked up so much stuff that I didn't know that was like, okay, hey, maybe that barge wasn't honking at me because he was a pecker gnat. Maybe he was he was just telling the other barge he was going to go around this way or something like that. And I'm like, wow, okay. I've been mad a lot of times that I thought they were honking at me, and come to find out they weren't even worried about me. So,
and sometimes they might have been honking at you, but you didn't know.
But you never know. I always try to stay out. I always do my best to stay other way out there. So they got a job to do. I don't. So.
Yep. Roger says, great job, Josh. I definitely need to rewatch this one. I'm always swapping motors. Proper prop makes
a big difference.
It's huge difference. You're right, Roger.
Proper propping prevents piss poor performance.
And then if you overwind in your motor, you'll blow it up. I mean,
Caitlin was with me on Crab Orchard Lake when we blew up the Bayliner, when we blew up that 115. We were scooting across the water, and I had it propped. Christina and I'd fished a tournament the week before, so we had the live well in, we had the live well loaded down. I'd taken the live well out. It was just me and Caitlin in the boat. And we were scooting along, probably turning 52 to 5,300 RPM on a Mercury Inline 6. They don't like RPMs. 5,000 is the max on those. And we were scooting across the lake. And about the time I realized what we were doing, they were, boom, and we lost about 1,000 RPM when cylinder 3 detonated. So
it's too late then.
It was done then, but you know what became of that? I ended up with a 150 on that boat instead of a 115. So
well, that's good things come to those who wait.
Yeah. So no, unless anybody has anything else, I think we'll call it a night tonight, and I'll let Christina escape the kids because they always hole up in one room. And John, as soon as we end the show, guys, just so you know, John comes running in and he'll hop in my lap and he will proceed to tell Lyle what he wants for Christmas. This is every week when we end the show.
Josh, great job tonight on your prop story. It very well done, and anybody that didn't get something out of that, they wasn't paying attention. It was just really nicely done.
Ooh, nubbies. I am not the authority on 4-stroke motors. I have yet to own one, I should say. I've ran one. My buddy had a 15-horse tiller steer that I went all through, but
I think they're all pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean, I know there's
it comes down on those to the number of hours on them. If you could, the lower the hours, the better. If it, I'd take a 10-year-old outboard with 200 hours over a 2-year-old outboard with 1,000 hours. That's just me. I want less hours on a 4-stroke, but
one that's been well maintained is what you're looking for if you're looking at a used one.
Mm-hmm. That is the truth. So,
by the way, before we leave tonight, boys and girls, I told Josh and Chad about this before the show. Wells Lamont. These are leather padded gloves underneath, nylon on top. My Walmart has them on sale. You save $11 if you buy 3 of them. I guess they're closing them out. Very sensitive if you're fishing in cold weather. If your store has them, I highly recommend them for fishing in the wintertime. I ordered 3 pair yesterday, cost me $5.96.
For 3 pairs?
For 3 pair, I went ahead and ordered another 3 pair because
I'm gonna have to order me some. I'm always losing gloves, so I mean,
they're not the warmest thing in the world, but they will keep your hands warm and fairly dry. And when you're handling fish and stuff, the leather on the inside of them, and for $2 a pair.
Oh yeah,
they get nasty. Just throw them away. And I've got, like I say, I got them yesterday, and I went ahead and ordered some more. I had a pair of them, and I've used them so long that the sides ripped out. The stitching had went bad, and my fingers was going out the sides of them.
Oh wow! And, see, I lose them before they ever get to that point.
So. Well, I just use these for fishing. I don't use them for anything else. So
and I'll have to.
That's a deal. If your Walmart has them for that price, I highly recommend it.
I'm going to have to. I have to do that. So before we close it out, once again, Chad, happy birthday, brother.
Absolutely.
Thank you, buddy.
Hope you had a good one today.
Had to work, so good as it could be.
That's right.
You could have banged in, but it's cold, so why bother? So
the thing about having a December birthday.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Thanks for all the knowledge you shared with us tonight.
Well, thank you guys. Hope everybody got something from it. And if you're watching this on a replay or something like that, leave a comment down below. If you have a question, leave a comment. I'll come back and try to catch them, and I'll answer those in the comment section. So that's all I got. Have a great week, y'all.
Next week
next week we'll be on for 2 hours. We got Top Cat next week, and we'll be going there, and we got the bragging board tonight to close us out. So we'll take a look at that, and we'll see everybody next Monday night.
See you next week.
Howdy, folks. It's time once again to take a look at the Catfish Weekly Bragging Board, the weekly video series where we showcase the amazing fish caught by you, our viewers. Leading us off this week is our good friend Ernest of River Rat 3030, who is showing off a couple of nice fish he caught during a recent outing.
Ernest has consistently been catching quality fish this year, and this week is no exception. Great job, buddy. Miss Lori Ann of Laura the Explorer is up next on the board. Laura is showing off this 34-pound, 14-ounce blue cat she caught while fishing from Tom and Michelle's famous dock. Nicely done, Laura. Congratulations. Captain Dave Morgan joins us next with a couple of hefty Fort Loudon catfish. This blue cat tipped the scales at 27 pounds, while the flatty weighed in at an even 30. Great work, Dave. Lance McCougai, the Hawaiian fisherman, is up next, showing off this awesome 6-pound burbot he caught. These elusive fish are always cool to see. Great work, Lance. Congratulations. Catfish Weekly channel member Tom of LG Bass closes us out this week with another cool species. This 8-pound bowfin was caught from the famous dock recently. These fish are a blast to catch. Nicely done, Tom. Congrats, buddy. Don't forget, guys, you too can be featured on the Catfish Weekly bragging board. To be eligible, the fish needs to have been caught within the past 14 days, and we accept pictures of any species of fish. Get yourself or a friend on the bragging board. All you need to do is email your fish photo to pics@theweekendangler.com. Send us the information shown on your screen, and we'll get it on the board for you. Thank you all for watching. Have a great week.